Coming up, how and why the Fargo School Board is having second thoughts on dropping the Pledge of Allegiance. Stepping down, why the president of MSUM is calling it quits after 8 years on the job. And North Dakota voters will decide whether to legalize recreational marijuana use. Hello and welcome to the Nightly Review. I'm Tom Tucker. We begin with a look at tonight's headlines, then a one-on-one conversation with Moorhead Mayor Shelly Carlson about the new multi-million-dollar downtown redevelopment project, which the mayor says will have a transformational effect on the city for decades to come. But first, tonight, it appears the Fargo School Board is having second thoughts about dropping the Pledge of Allegiance 1 week after voting to eliminate the pledge from their bi-weekly agenda. School Board President Dr. Tracy Newman is calling for a special meeting to take place at the district offices this coming Thursday night to talk about the possibility of reinstating the pledge back into the board's meetings. In a memo released to WDAY Radio, Dr. Newman says the district has received significant negative local and national feedback on the decision and says a discussion needs to take place on the impact the decision has had on the board, the district, and the community. Meanwhile, Governor Doug Burgum is proposing legislation that would guarantee the right to say the Pledge of Allegiance in public schools and at government meetings. Burgum says his office will work with lawmakers to draft legislation regarding the pledge before the next session begins in January. The Republican governor says he wants to enact a policy similar to those used in other states. North Dakota voters are set to decide whether to legalize recreational marijuana use. Secretary of State Al Jaeger says his office has accepted more than 23,000 signatures submitted by ballot measure supporters. Petitioners needed a little more than 15,500 signatures to move the ballot measure forward to a vote. The measure would allow people 21 or older to purchase and use recreational marijuana under certain circumstances. In Moorhead, the president of MSUM, Ann Blackhurst, announced today that she is retiring June 30th, 2023. And making the announcement, Blackhurst said the past year has been especially challenging for her personally. She became the university's 11th president in 2014 after a national search. At the time, she was already serving the school as provost and senior vice president for academic affairs. Blackhurst is credited as leading the school through an intensive review of academic programming and expanding graduate programs. North Dakota State Representative Rick Becker is talking about his decision to seek the U.S. Senate seat currently held by Republican John Hoeven. Becker, elected to state office as a Republican, is running as an independent.
I found myself being pushed further and further toward making the run because of what's been happening over the past 3 months. What's going on in the economy, inflation. Inflation is caused by a number of different factors, but the number one factor is the overspending by the politicians in Washington, D.C.
Becker says it was not an easy decision to announce his bid as an independent, but he believes he can take the necessary votes away from Hoeven to win this November. He must first gather 1,000 signatures to get on the ballot. North Dakota health officials tell us eligibility for the monkeypox vaccine is being expanded. Officials say men who have sex with other men are now eligible for the vaccine. Health officials say that group makes up the majority of people who have contracted the virus. 2 cases of the virus have now been confirmed in North Dakota. A new report shows a big increase in violent crime in Minnesota. The 2021 Uniform Crime Report, released Friday by the State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, indicates violent crime went up 22% last year in the state compared to the previous year. Officials say of all categories of violent crime, aggravated assault saw the biggest increase at 33%. The homicide rate in the state was 9% higher, with a total case number of 201 in 2021. 2 former Minneapolis police officers are going to trial after rejecting plea deals from state prosecutors in George Floyd's death. No one is saying why Tao Tao and J. Alexander Kung refused to accept the plea bargains yesterday. The 2 were sentenced to 3 years in federal prison last month, and they're facing 12 years in prison if convicted on the state charges. The former officers are accused of not stopping Officer Derek Chauvin from killing George Floyd back in 2020. The South Dakota Board of Education is releasing a report on how it's dealing with state educational materials violating Governor Kristi Noem's executive order banning critical race theory in classrooms. The report highlights what is described as a small number of documents among educational materials that included, quote, inherently divisive concepts. State education officials say the flagged materials will be discontinued. Governor Noem issued the executive order in April, prompting the content review. Well, time is running out for anyone planning to take a trip to the Twin Cities to get married at the Mall of America. The mall's Chapel of Love is closing at the end of the month. Owner Felicia Glass Wilcox figures more than 8,000 people have gotten married at the mall since they opened in 1994. She says after 28 years, it's time to move into retirement. The last day for nuptials at the Chapel of Love at the Mall of America will be August 28th. Well, we aim to make the Nightly Review a great source for news and information for all that is happening here in the FM Metro. If you find that to be the case, please take a moment to subscribe and hit the bell button below. That way, you won't miss an episode. A fairly typical day for us weather-wise for mid-August, but there is a change brewing in the forecast. Meteorologist Justin Storm is in the Skywatch Weather Center to give us the details.
Thanks, Tom. As we continue throughout this evening, mostly cloudy skies will continue with a slight chance for a few isolated storms, of which a couple could be strong to severe. Wind will be out of the southwest around 10 to 25 miles per hour, but it will lighten up through the overnight hours. Clouds will gradually decrease. Low temperatures will drop into the mid-60s. Now for Wednesday, sunshine will return. We'll have partly cloudy conditions with high temperatures in the mid-80s. A stray shower can't be ruled out, but most of our area should remain dry with light wind out of the north around 5 to 10. Overnight Wednesday, another chance for some scattered showers, although those will become more wider spread throughout the day of Thursday. Showers look fairly likely throughout the day. It will be a little on the breezy side with temperatures in the mid-70s.
It could happen to you or someone you love. One moment, one diagnosis can change everything. Thankfully, there's a program that helps caring people uplift families through a crisis. Lend a Hand Up, raising financial help and hope through community benefits and online campaigns. A program that boosts generosity so gifts go further. Lend a Hand Up helps you help your neighbors. Learn more and give at lendahandup.org.
Welcome back to the Nightly Review. The City of Moorhead has just unveiled plans for a major downtown redevelopment project, which we're told will have a transformational effect on the city for decades to come. Mayor Shelly Carlson says the project, covering 9 city blocks, will include new housing, retail, and commercial development, green space, and a riverfront connection. The mayor expressed excitement when first talking about the project.
You know, the things that I think about is that it just is going to bring such great new energy to our downtown. It's a way to revitalize it. This is really Moorhead's time to shine, and we're going to just create such great beauty and a great destination for all ages to come and enjoy our community.
Mayor Carlson says the expansive project includes apartments, condos, and retail and commercial development.
So it is a complete revitalization of the Moorhead Center Mall, and it will be done in a couple different phases, but we're gonna put roads where there weren't roads before. One of it, we're calling it Festival Lane or Festival Street, where we will be able to close that street down and have really great community events. It will be mixed use, so there will be some apartments, but there will also be some condos. There will be businesses. There are a few businesses left in the Moorhead Center Mall, and we're hoping that they're going to find a place so that we can keep them in downtown Moorhead. And we're also hoping to build about 1,200 units for people to be able to live there and create a lot of that density that you really need to keep communities and businesses and neighborhoods thriving. So it's going to become a destination for everybody.
Carlson talked about how she expects the project to play a major role in the city's growth and development for decades to come.
This is going to be some place where we can start bringing people. So when friends and family come to town, we have a place to go in our city. But it's also going to create a place for the citizens of Moorhead to be able to go. All year, it's going to be something that will be able to experience all 4 seasons. And it's also where we're hoping to put our new community center library if we get that yes vote in November, which will kind of be the catalyst to really help spur all that development in our downtown.
I asked Carlson what it's like for her as mayor to be overseeing such a major project at this stage of the process.
It's absolutely thrilling. It's so exciting, and I'm so excited to be able to do something with this area that didn't have a lot of traffic before, but I think it's just going to create this wonderful place for our community for generations to come.
I'd like to thank Moorhead Mayor Shelly Carlson for joining me for tonight's one-on-one conversation, talking about the downtown Moorhead redevelopment project. Carlson says work on the project could begin as early as fall 2023. She also says a new community center and library downtown has the potential to jumpstart the development project. Voters will decide in November whether to approve a sales tax increase to help pay for that community center and library. Well, that will do it for this Tuesday night, August 16th, 2022. I'm Tom Tucker. Thanks for watching the Nightly Review.